Good morning, children. I hope you are fantastic. Today we're going to work on intensive and reflexive pronouns. We've watched a video and we're going to play some Jeopardy, and I'm going to help you, understand again the difference between reflexive and intensive pronouns. They all end in self or selves, but again, intensive pronouns just intensify the sentence. They can also be taken out, and the sentence still makes grammatical and logical sense. Where reflexive, if we took them out, they wouldn't make any sense. But let's watch these videos. Let's do today's assignment. I'm going to make it a little bigger again because I hate when it's too small and you guys can't see. So, again, remember, intensive and reflexive pronouns always end in self or selves. On this, I gave you a chart of intensive and reflexive pronouns. So please go back and refer to these when you're doing this assignment. There's going to be 3 parts. Directions. For part 1, you're going to change the text color to orange. All intensive and reflexive. I don't like those, my directions. Change the text color to orange. All the intensive and reflexive pronouns in each sentence. Okay, never mind. They're fine. Number 1. When I feel discouraged, I tell myself the story of the ugly duckling. Number 2. The ugly duckling played games. The other ducklings played games by themselves and ignored the ugly duckling. 3. The ugly duckling himself could not understand why no one liked him. 4. Because he was different, the ducklings saw themselves as better than him. 5. The ugly duckling thought, I need to hide myself far away from others. So, again, you're going to change the text color to orange, the intensive and reflexive pronouns in the sentence. Remember, they always end in self or selves. So we look at number 1. When I feel discouraged, I tell myself the story of the ugly duckling. Again, we see the only pronoun, remember, pronouns are first, second, third person. And we see the only word that ends in self or selves is myself. So we're going to highlight it. We're going to change its text color to orange. There's only one intensive or reflexive pronoun in each sentence, so this section is worth 5 points. Part 2, directions. Highlight in purple the correct pronoun to complete each sentence. The emperor himself was a vain man. 2. 2 tailors told themselves that they could fool the emperor. 3. They said that the emperor's robes would make it visible only to the smartest people. 4. None of us wanted to prove ourselves stupid by saying we couldn't see it. 5. Finally, a little boy laughed and shouted, the emperor should look at him himself. He isn't wearing anything at all. So one of the really good tricks is to go back and let's do number 1. Read this sentence again with both words and see which one makes the most sense. So, number 1, the emperor was a vain man, or the emperor himself was a vain man. So again, himself makes a lot more logical sense, doesn't it, than not just him. So, we're going to take and we're going to highlight himself. We're going to go up to, I didn't want to highlight, I want to change the text color. Change the text color. I'm going to fix this in your master copy. It's easier to read than the highlights. So, do that for each sentence. This section is worth 5 points. Finally, in part 3, you're going to highlight the intensive or reflective pronoun in green. Then you're going to tell whether it is reflexive or intensive by highlighting the letter in yellow. Changing the text color again. I'm going to fix that in your directions. 1. People have been telling themselves the story of Snow White for centuries. 2. The queen knew that she herself was not as beautiful as Snow White. 3. The queen talked herself into getting rid of Snow White. 4. She told one of her men to kill Snow White, but the hunter himself knew that he could not do it. And then 5. He told Snow White, "Save yourself! Never return to the castle." So let's go back up to number 1. Again, we know again that intensive or reflexive pronouns always end in self or selves. In each one of these sentences, there's only one word that ends in self or selves. So you're going to change the text color, like themselves is one. So change it to green. Let's change it to a darker green that's easier to see. Then ask yourself, is it intensive or is it reflexive? Remember, intensive only intensifies the sentence, where reflexive reflects back to the word it's talking about. I like the smell of my new deodorant. Sorry, I can just smell it. It smells nice. Okay, so people have been telling themselves the story of Snow White for centuries. So the big question is, can we get rid of themselves? People have been telling the story of Snow White for centuries. See, that makes sense that we can get rid of it. So we're going to make that intensive. So you're going to click on the I and change the text color to yellow. So that's how you're going to do this section. This section is worth 10 points. 1 point for changing the text color in green, the correct pronoun that ends in self or selves, and then another point for highlighting or changing the text color in yellow, the I or the R, denoting whether it is intensive or reflexive. As always, pirates, if you have any questions, please raise your hand in class. Remote learners, please unmute yourself, and I'll come by and talk to you or message me in Schoolology. Thank you very much, pirates, and have a super sparkly day.